Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Who am I but I'm Dre Mac? Came into the game just to spit facts. Into the space that I'm in. They call me Bobby Drake cause I'm cold with the pen. I run no diamonds but I still shine. You can dig me cause my boy's mine. My tracks flame like a Damu. The hardest part on my tongue. These niggas warm blue. I'm a throw with a gas leak. Camouflage in the mist but you smell me. One spark then I bet you I'ma blow up. They throw my name around, get stupid, then you go dumb. No rest for the weary. A bunch of sitting in his man but you can't see me. You rather drink than go pull up. I'm drinking knife through the game, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. I came to eat at the a la carte. Got stripped of a bear, call me brainstorm. Then I come together like a Voltron. Then I pour another plate to use Decepticon. Straight rappers to retreat like Cobra. 80s they before they like. Up in the storage and I'm E-man. Up, down, then I'm cheap. You a beast, man. I take a beat in. Ninja turtle back, turtle clans get defeated. High in my ride. You can call me Night Rider. You can never stop me. Cause I'm a guy bomb. Bad attitude like a rocket. My whole to the A. And I bet you can stop us. LL bad when I go and show up. You can hear the haters in the back. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie.
This is a test. This station is conducting a test of the emergency broadcasting system. This is only a test.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce. Don't get that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes with my chicken wings.
We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What is going on, everybody? This is your man Dre Mac coming to you again with another episode of the Dre Mac Show. 7:30 in the morning Central Time, 8:30 on the East Coast. You're on the West Coast right now. Go ahead and get up, because you already know that the early bird gets the worm. And on today, we are going to talk about the Jonathan Majors, Ben Shapiro link up. Does this hurt Jonathan Majors? And people who already have beef with Jonathan Majors for even attempting to date a white woman, let alone run from her, and then, you know, listen to all the trades, run a narrative about assault and all of that, when the obvious information is literally online at, you know, the criminal justice system or whatever. Here we are. So if you already had a problem with him, you're going to continue to have a problem with him. But I'm not really here for that. I'm really here to answer that question. And go over a couple videos. I'm going to play some videos from Lauren Victoria Burke, and I'm going to play some videos from Torian Rain Reloaded. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you are a member, there is a video that you guys can watch right now before everybody else, and I spent quite amount of time on that video. So I'm not gonna lie, I am exhausted. I'm not even gonna lie. So I'm gonna play some of the videos so we can get a compare and contrast of the conversation that's going on. But there's people that's making, I mean, but again, these are the same people who was making videos when they were called, when he was like, I will have you heard of Coretta Scott King or whatever, to the white woman, and had a narrative pushing right there. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But hopefully you guys are happy. Hopefully you guys are healthy this morning. Shout out to my man Heavy Gan over at the Heavy Gan Reaction. But you already know how I do. The real question is,
Say why you hating on my energy? Say why you hating on my energy? I don't think you wanna be my enemy.
all right. Let me shout everybody that's in the chat. We are going to get into a Junior Network. Good morning. Toria Rain Reloaded. Good morning. Arbiko, good morning. Krisha Key, good morning. Damon, good morning. My brother X-Man, Xavier Phoenix, good morning. Erica D, aka She Loves Fantasy. Good morning. Robin D, the admin. Good morning. Maverick Defender. Good morning. Sheed is up here. Good morning. Sheed already seen the video. I put this on Everything I Love. That's the last video I'm doing on this dude. That's the last. Unless he say something that's off the wall and mentions my name, I'm not gonna talk. It's worthless at this point. But he's seen the video. The video is up already for anybody who is a member. Which I think I'm gonna start doing that. Man, I make sure to start doing that more. Sometimes I just want to get the video out so everybody can watch, but I think I'm gonna set it up so all my members y'all can watch it first. Everybody else there get to watch it, but y'all pay your money, you should be able to watch the videos first. It's summer. What's up? Good morning. Taste the biscuits. And I know you all the way in London, but it's biscuit time. It's always time for buttery baked biscuits. Tina, aka Mintygasm, good morning. Wavy Things, good morning. Let me see. Marley Mar, good morning. Mike Bree, good morning. I know it's crazy. I I agree. That's the thing. I agree. I agree with a lot of sentiment out there that the why him, and I think that's our biscuits are dry and crunchy over there. We know some dry and crunchy biscuits over here too. But I'm going to get into it. But the first thing I want to do is shout out everybody that's in the crew. Shout out to all my crew members. Let's make sure that let me get y'all out the gate, man. Let's go. Hold up. Wait a minute. Whoa. Stop everything you're doing. Go and hit that like button. I know this is probably your first time watching, and you probably enjoying everything. Stop fucking on the channel and go and hit that subscribe button so you never miss one of my videos or one of my morning live streams. And for only $2.99 a month, you can be a part of the crew. And shout out to all my crew members that been holding it down for Dre Mack and the crew since the beginning. All right, back to your regularly scheduled program, now in service. Go. Bye. All right. So again, if you want to be a part of the crew, all you got to do is hit that join button and you will be a part of the crew. I just had to edit edit the video that I got out now. Again, my members, you guys get to watch it. It will debut at 5 o'clock. Uh this is just weird. Anyway, let me just say exactly, that's right. Biscuits across the pond or cookies here. That's right. That is right. I had some biscuits the other day that was delicious. Gluten-free biscuits. Got chocolate chips in it. It was great. Oh, I've said this before. Do I like this move? Let me just put this more out there before, because I had people call he's a coon and you just defending him and you're on your knees for this dude was going on. I'm like, I just stopped responding because it was worthless. I'm not gonna change your mind. You think I'm on my knees for Jonathan, whatever. It ain't the first time I heard some weird ass, mess like that in the first place. So whatever. I look at things two ways. I look at one, the phone. I personally don't think, and this is just my personal opinion, I don't think the phone is ringing like that. And what I mean by that is that I don't think a lot of people are ringing the bell for Jonathan like that. It's my personal opinion. I could be dead wrong, but I just don't think the phone calls are coming in where everybody's trying to get him. I've already expressed what I feel about Black Hollywood. Some people don't think that that's fair. They think that, number one, he should get a job back, but hey, you did what you did, so whatever. Or the other route is that it's not Black Hollywood's fault that he's in trouble. So whatever he has to go through, he has to go through. And I've already said that if you're not getting phone calls in, you're most definitely blackballed. You're most definitely blackballed in Hollywood. Where a guy is that talented that had a misdemeanor reckless assault. Because I have to keep saying that. Because the root is repeating what Deadline is saying. It's going to repeat what Hollywood Reporter is saying. They're not going to write their own article. And these are supposed to be, for blacks. That's why I said, man, I don't trust nothing. I don't trust nothing, especially when it starts doing anti-black. I stopped reading the root a long time ago because I started seeing the narratives that they were pushing in their articles. But I just believe the brother is blackballed. And I believe, and again, I haven't talked to him. This ain't what he said. I've told y'all before, he has a publicist. I don't have to speak for him. I'm not his mouthpiece. But I just felt, I honestly felt like it was an opportunity to make art. That's what I feel. I feel like it was about the art. He didn't care who he did it with. It was the art. Here's the opposite side of that coin. Is who you're making the art with that everybody's going to point to. And I think that is the most damning thing in the conversations that's been had, is because of his political views. Now, mind you, that the Wayans brothers are coming out with Scary Movie 6 that is distributed by Miramax and Paramount. South Park is under Paramount. There's all these. We have to understand that Daily Wire is a small fish. It's just one loud ass fish. And so we know his politics. We start to find out the Ellis's politics during all of this takeover with CBS, with Skydance and Paramount when they acquired Paramount, and now with the Warner Brothers deal. But if they're right wing, just think how many other people that own big companies where they lean to. So, in one hand, we can say this is bad because of who it is. On the other side, Hollywood, it is that. There's a lot of people that lean completely right wing in Hollywood that own studios that's constantly, putting out movies. I see it honestly. I see this going. I see this going badly. Yeah, I see this going badly. What's up, Pam? What's up, Libro? I'm about to read your guys' comment. I see this going badly for him because of PR. It's the PR. The public relation part of this the optics are bad. The optics are completely bad. And this brother is immensely talented. And again, I said this about Black Hollywood. Nobody could have reached him out for nothing. Like I said, you could get him on podcasts and people are like, hey, he could do podcasts and he could do this and he could do that. When you were one of the guys that was going to be on the top of the food chain, and you were getting top of the food chain money, and now that's gone, you gotta pay your lawyer bills. You probably spent a lot of money paying lawyers off. Then you gotta pay for your kid if you got child support and all of that. You gotta maintain your living. You got a wife. There's only so much you're gonna pull from your wife as a man. And as a man of his caliber, he's not gonna sit there and let Megan pay for everything. He's not. I know that. Summer knows that. You know what I mean? He's just not. That's not the kind of man he is. So what I believe happened is that they were the ones who picked up the phone. He was like, I'll do it. I'll do anything, at this point, because I need a job. I need to work. I need to get in my craft. Magazine Dreams didn't make the money that I thought it was going to make. I got to do what I got to do. But the optics. So I think that's what it is. We're going to set this thing up. I'm gonna shift gears real quick. If y'all don't mind, let me take a quick commercial break, and I'll be right back with more of the Drake Mack Show. Don't go nowhere. I'm gonna read you guys' comments.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Now you can own one of the greatest gospel albums ever on the road, with only giant hits and legendary stars.
Biscuit. I know it's the truth about it. I love. Oh, how I love this biscuit. Oh, how I love this biscuit. It is the best biscuit. I know.
This treasury is not sold in stores, and when you call the toll-free number now, you also get another entire album of all-time gospel favorites.
We now return to the Transformers.
All right. Let's go ahead. Let's transition over, man. I love these biscuits. I do. I love them. And I hope you love these biscuits too. It's the best biscuits I know. Let me see. The establishment destroyed his money and his reputation. Jonathan needs to do what he needs to do to be done. Everyone will suck up later. It's just a game. And I'm looking at that that too. That he has to play the game. Some people say, I've said this before, that certain people and I don't want to say it like this, but I gotta be truthful. Some people say that these are the humiliation rituals that they make black people go through. It's the optics. It could be this. If he would have came back and he would have played a gay role, let's just be honest. If he would have came back and played a gay man in a movie, I would have been like, see how Hollywood butt breaking, see what he doing. If he would have been wearing a dress, see Hollywood butt breaking. You know, he would have played a stereotypical character. See Hollywood butt breaking. So no matter what he would have done, because I'm going to be honest with you, as of right now, the big Hollywood movies, roles that he would have got prior to this is not coming. I'm sorry. Until he gets in Creed, and let's just be honest, how big of a role he's going to have in the next Creed movie? Will it be as big as his role was in the last Creed movie, which was a good movie? But I mean, hell, he was on a roll. You know what I'm saying? And look what happened. So I honestly believe he was in a pickle. Is either you do this or you. What if they came to him and say, you do this or you don't get back into Hollywood? What if his agent say, hey man, I'm just trying to tell you, you turn down this role, you're never going to get a role again. And a person that's a thespian, somebody who loves this craft and this art, and this is your dream, are you going to allow somebody to take away your dream? No matter what you got to do, no matter what it is, no matter what I got to do it. So I get it. I honestly do. Do I like it? No. I told y'all I don't like this. Because I think they're holding him by his balls. No Diddy. You know what I mean? And the man ain't gonna go back to sacking groceries, you know what I'm saying, or teaching, you know, or because of his in the way that they're treating him in Hollywood, man. How easy for him just to get a job, even as a background character. And you know what I mean? Like, this is horrible. And again, I blame Alvin Braggs for all of this, because this all could have been avoided if it wasn't for Alvin Braggs and the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. They were super trash. So, let me see. Libro said this is an unwise move. Taking a role like this will further ostracize you from mainstream and Black Hollywood. Then have the Daily Wire controlling the movie. Will the message be a positive one? You have asked a great question. That I can't answer. I don't know. I just don't like it. Jonathan's cachet for phone calls have been over. He has now he has to now go and audition. But let's be real. We do not know Jonathan's political views or whether he needs this job or stay afloat. And that's something that Lauren Victoria Burke said, which I'm gonna play her video too. We don't know what Southern Texas, man, he could be very liberal. You know what I'm sorry, very conservative. I don't know. I'm gonna be. Can I keep it buck? He bet not. If he is, and he leans that political, in that political spectrum, I wouldn't say nothing about it, because it's going to be. You might as well, kiss everything that you created with Black folks goodbye if you are a Trump supporter. I'm just keeping it a buck. I'm keeping it a buck. I wouldn't tell nobody. I wouldn't. I hold my tongue. But Libro, I've seen Nate Parker was very talented. Army Hammer is a talented dude who went out and was R-wording people. Hell, Jared Leto, like I said in my last stream about this, got a weird case. A very weird case. Guess what? He's Skeletor. But again, we're talking about how they treat black men in Hollywood and black people in Hollywood and how they treat white folks. You know, all this stuff that came out through the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. Guess where Amber Heard was at? Still working. I don't know if she's working now as much because I don't keep up with her, but you know, it's just, you know, and technically this is an independent film. This is not backed by no major story. This is not like Universal came and got him. This is not like Sony came and got him with a bunch of wooden ass actors that they picked. Jonathan could have easily been in any of these movies, but what's going on? Good morning, Kendall. Good morning. We don't know. Merciless. We don't know what happened with Merciless. I don't know what happened to the other movie with Charlemagne. You know, I don't know nothing. They're saying he's filming this movie right now, so we might as well. He's filming this movie right now. You know what I mean? Right now. So I don't know. Yep. We, you know, it's the optics. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. He already finished everything he could do in the last Creed movie. I don't know what he's going to do besides be a cameo. You know, like I said, and this is the thing. If Ben Shapiro could keep his political views and all of that, and don't make it like, here, look at us saving actors again. If he can shut up, I don't think it won't be as bad. But I don't see I don't see that happening. You know, so Megan Stump for Jasmine Crockett. Well, there you go. So this just sucks. Yep, Nate Parker got a raw deal. But I find it very hard to believe he's playing a compromising role. I think we all need to pause and take a deep breath. I believe this movie is going to try to be a throwback 80s type of action flick. I think the way it's advertised, I think that's what it's going to be. I'm just, like I said, I'm praying. I told you I'm praying for this brother, and I completely understand what you're saying. You know, and that's probably what it is. You know what? I believe that's probably what in my heart of hearts. Again, I don't know. Haven't talked to Jonathan, and he's filming, so he's not gonna talk to me right now. He's in the zone. I wouldn't talk to him anyway. Go make your movie, big dog. So I'm not going to sit up here and speak for him. He has a publicist, like I said. I don't want nobody going to nobody saying, "Oh, Dre Mack, he's saying this." No, not doing that. Whatever I got to say to that brother, I tell him myself. But this is my thing. This is legitimately my thing, honestly. I honestly, in my heart of hearts, believe that they just put the money up. Like you said. They just put the money up and said, you want to be in the film, we'll put the money up. I honestly believe that. This is just, and I'm looking at it because after meeting Megan, and now that you said that, now after meeting Megan and seeing what type of woman she is, I don't think she's going to let that. If it was, how can I say this without, I just don't think she's that type of woman to let that man slide. Not after all of this. You know what I mean? Not after everything that he's been through. I just don't believe that. So I believe she's like, "Hey, babe, do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. They're going to say shit. Do what you got to do. They're going to talk about you. Do what you got to do." And I honestly believe that. And, you know, so I honestly, because it's Jonathan, it's probably going to be the way he delivers stuff, especially like I said, The Harder They Fall. I was not expecting that movie to be that damn good. And Jonathan was amazing in The Harder They Fall. It's my favorite Jonathan Majors movie of all times. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know. I believe remember right before Magazine Dreams came out, and Tina brought that up, that Grace Jabari dropped the mixtape. Hey, Miss Roberta, don't watch the other video. That video is not safe for church ears, because I'm going off on somebody. But don't watch that video. But yeah, I don't know. Let's see what Torian. I'm gonna play Torian's video, and I'm going to play you know, we are and I think we're speaking because it's Ben Shapiro. I think that's what it is. If Ben Shapiro and Daily Wire wasn't attached to it and it was the Daily Mail, I think it'd be different. I honestly think we'll have a different conversation. We'll be celebrating the hell out of this. It's because it's attached to the Daily Mail and people calling them a coon and all of this. Dumb. It's dumb. Let's pump our brakes and see what we got first. I do believe that. Let's see how the marketing tour goes to promote this movie. I do believe in that. I completely, and that's why I love the sisters in here. You know, I love my sisters. You know what I'm saying? I love y'all because you said it right. Pump your brakes. Speaking too soon. Pump your brakes. I thank y'all, boy. Boy, the Lord is good, ain't he? Hallelujah.
When I first saw this bit of news right here, I had to literally check, double check, triple check, just to make sure that I was not being trolled on social media, especially since where I saw it at was on Twitter. But it turned out to be true.
And shout out
because
to
it came
Ring
from the
Reloaded.
Discussing Film page that I follow on there, and they pretty much always have everything, for the most part, pretty accurate. I rarely ever see them ever do a retraction because for the most part they are very deep inside when it comes to this industry. And that is the news about Jonathan Majors working on a film that is produced by Ben Shapiro, of all people, that is set to be on the Daily Wire. Apparently it's this action film that's being filmed in South Carolina. Like, this is very brand news that he's filming this film in South Carolina.
All right, have a good day at work.
Produced by Ben Shapiro for the Daily Wire. And all I could think about was the whole Gina Carano situation. I'm gonna go into a little bit more detail about that later. And my first initial thought was, I don't know how to feel about this, because as big as a talent as Jonathan Majors is, why would he have to do a film anywhere near Ben Shapiro, of all people, who is not what I would consider, or what the industry would consider as top tier, especially when you see the things that Jonathan Majors has done over the years. On the flip side, I see other people's arguments where, well, if a lot of these bigger black names like a Spike Lee or a Tyler Perry or even a Ryan Coogler would have reached out to him to, maybe get him a job after what happened with him in Marvel Disney, then he wouldn't have had to go and work with someone like a Ben Shapiro. So it's a lot of moving parts that go with this.
And Torian is right. It's a lot of moving parts. Let me do this real quick. Let's just, for the sake of argument, so we know. So let's get some context, right? Let's see. Not the Daily Mail, Lee, bro. I was just saying. I was just making something up. But I get what you're saying. But I mean, let's be honest. We got to keep it a buck. We act like we don't live in America. How many people are really champion for us on a daily basis? That's white. That's in Hollywood. Anybody? Any studios? Any studios that champions the hell out of black folks, uplift black folks, make sure black folks can be able to get on, give other black people a helping hand getting their films out. Taking those films from Sundance Film Festival and getting them on the big screen. How many studios are doing that in America? Put it in the comment section below. How many of them come to the defense of black people when black people have grievances like pay, you know what I'm saying? And this whole DEI thing that they try to make it seem like black folks are benefiting from when they turn around and roll back. How many of those studios actually are hiring black talent and putting black films on screen like they was in the 90s? Put it in the comment section. I am just very curious. Just very curious. I don't trust none of them. Just being real with you, I don't trust none of them. But I digress. A movie producer is the central leader. Jeez, this makes it worse. The central leader who manages a film project from conception to distribution, handling the business and logistical rather than the artistic side of. Why did they put a comma there is beyond me. Side of filmmaking. They secure funding, hire the key crew, director casting, manage budgets, oversee schedules, and guide the project through pre-production, production, and post-production. So let's just put the name to it. Ben Shapiro is the central leader who manages the film project from conception to distribution, handling the business and logistical standpoint rather than the artistic side of filmmaking. So Ben Shapiro has nothing to do with the artistic side of the film. Only thing his job is to handle the business and logistical side of this. He needs to handle the project from conception to distribution. That's all he needs to do. All he needs to do is secure funding, hire a key crew, manage the budget, oversee the schedules, and guide the project through pre-production, production, and post-production. That's all he needs to do. So, this is the key responsibilities. Development. Identify the material, which they already got. Security rights, they already did that. Financing and packaging. Creating investor decks to secure funding, hire key staff, and finding production partners, which they already done that. This is what Ben Shapiro's job is. Because a lot of people are going to call Jonathan all kinds of names. Feelings aside, let's see what this man's job is, right? All right. So finding production partners, pre-production. This is Ben Shapiro's job, right? And the other production company, right? Creating budgets, shooting schedules, secure filming locations, and manage logistics. Production. Monitoring the budget, ensuring the filming schedule is met, and solving daily unexpected on-set problems. So is there a problem on set? Ben Shapiro or the other company that's part of this production too? Because remember, it's not just Daily Wire. There's another production company that's alongside of this also, right? This is his job. Something happens on set. There's some problems on set. They got to go to Ben Shapiro. He has to handle that. Right? All right. Post-production, working with editors, sound design, and VFX artists to ensure the final product meets standards. Distribution, managing market strategies and negotiating with distributors to sell the film. That is Ben Shapiro's job. That is actually the job for any producer that comes along. Let me get Bert and Ernie off my thing. That's the job of a producer. So I wanted to put that out there so we know now what his job is. You know, what's up, executive judge? And the problem with Ben Shapiro, he was trying to be too much like Charlie Kirk, and they make their money off of, downing black people to uplift whites. That's what it is. So what Daily Mail does. They hired Candace Owens, and Candace Owens had no problem telling black folks that we're being victims. You're having a victim mindset, pushing the narrative. Once she started going after Zionist Jews, then all of a sudden she gets fired. Now they're going after her. Just saying. Matt Walsh made a whole thing. Got a movie out right now called "Am I a Racist?" If you have to make a movie called "Am I a Racist?" you probably are, or you probably just heavily bigoted, or you lean towards racist. I don't know. You be the judge. Oh, you probably will. Facts. And Victoria, I'm going to speed your video up because Lauren's video, and I don't want to be on here too long. Like I said, I kind of been up all night, so I'm gonna just speed it up just a little bit. Um, um, and then stop it when I need to be to give my thoughts. Dallas Sawyer, that's the other producer. So again, now that we understand what a role of a producer is, we can understand what he needs to, what Ben Shapiro's role is going forward. Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. I didn't flip it over. My fault.
Fire legend, respectfully. Travis Mills, Lillian Campbell, and Sidney Ackerman are also producing. Major's career was motoring forward following.
Oh, it's not. So let's just be honest. It's not just Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro and Daily Mail is just the highlighted names, but there's other people that's part of this production also. So it's not just Ben Shapiro.
Roles in movies such as The Last Black Man in San Francisco, Creed 3, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and Magazine Dreams, as well as series such as HBO horror Lovecraft Country and also the show Loki. But he was dropped from numerous projects and his agency when found guilty in 2023 of assaulting his former girlfriend. And y'all have to really, really pay attention to the verbiage that is used when it comes to surrounding around this assault or the guilty verdict that was surrounded around him. Because what I've noticed when I was looking online is people are bringing that back up and now they're misconstruing it again. And because it's Ben Shapiro and because of the things that he has said, especially about black people, people are going to be like, how dare he basically do a deal with the devil? Like, that's literally what it's coming down to. The actor has been rebuilding since then and is also attached to star.
They basically saying that okay, Ari Erica D. They're basically saying he made a deal with Mephisto. That's basically what they're saying, and they're still using the same jacked up verbiage that is not true, that he assaulted his girlfriend. Again, reckless assault is not the same as assault. It's not the same. It's an accident that led to an injury.
The supernatural revenge thriller Merciless from Martin Villeneuve, which we first announced in summer 2024. Now that last name Villeneuve sounds like he's maybe related to Denis Villeneuve, who is the
but let's just say, for the sake of argument, this is just for the sake of argument, it is getting attention, maybe bad attention, but we already know in Hollywood, any attention, anytime your name is being called, whether it's good or bad, it always leads to something. And if people are talking about you, you know what I mean? Even if it's controversial, then let's be honest, they're going to want you. They're going to want you for something. So it's just weird how Hollywood is, but all attention ain't good. It's not good attention unless it's Hollywood.
Director for the Dune series, and I'm assuming he has to be because that's a name that's not common. The Daily Wire and Bonfire legend have not shied away from opportunities to help resuscitate the careers of quote-unquote canceled actors. The conservative media brands, which are coming off their biggest project to date in TV, the Pendragon cycle, also gave comeback roles to Armie Hammer and Gina Carano after her exit from The Mandalorian. And the thing is, where have you seen Armie Hammer or Gina Carano since then? I can't remember the last time I've seen Army Hammer's name attached to anything major, unless someone can point it out to me. And as far as Gina Carano, at this point, the biggest thing she's going to ever do is The Mandalorian. And the thing is, I actually liked her character on that show.
Me too.
But then, she said what she said, and they got her up out of there. Caleb Robinson and Mike Richards are executive producing the new movie for the Daily Wire alongside Majors for Tall Street Productions and Jason Ramos. Christopher Kimlin will be cinematographer, and David Guillermo will handle casting. Vincent Reynard is on board as a production designer, and Emma Fleming will be the costume designer. The movie reunites the Daily Wire and Bonfire legend with Rankin, who wrote and directed their film Run, Hide, Fight, which starred Isabel May and Thomas Jane and premiered at the Venice Film Festival in 2020. Majors is represented by WME and Fox Rothschild. Rankin is rep by UTA, Greenlit Management, and attorney Stephen Clark. So that's pretty much the whole article right there. And again, it's just running down who's attached to it. He's in it. Of course, he's like the bigger name attached to it. He's probably one of the biggest stars that they have worked with, because Gina Carano, again, people only really knew her for being in Mandalorian, and she was also in the first Deadpool movie, so her resume wasn't that massive. Of course, people know,
and she's not on the level of Jonathan Majors.
Her for being this, I believe she was a USC fighter at one point, and that's where she came from. Army Hammer, he did a few movies here and there, but then of course look at what happened with him. But Jonathan Majors is probably one of their biggest stars, and if I'm not mistaken, probably one of the first black stars that they've worked with as far as a big name and everything like that. But speaking of attachments, and I found it interesting that Deadline didn't have this, because I think this probably came out probably around the same time, or maybe they probably did an update. There is another familiar person that's attached to this project, and that person is none other than Zachary Levi. Now, for those of y'all who don't know who Zachary Levi is, he is or was Shazam, or he was in the Shazam movies. He's done a couple of other things, but when people think of Zachary Levi, for the most part, they're going to think of Shazam, because those are his more notable roles to date, despite how you may or may not feel about those movies. It was something that was supposed to be career defining for him, because he was playing a DC character before they did the switch up over there with DC. And Zachary Levi is another one of those individuals who has said problematic things that pretty much put his whole career in the tank. And then on top of that, he wasn't really a box office draw like that. Like a lot of his movies ended up flopping even after Shazam. Like Shazam is probably one of his more successful movies to date, even though he did work before that.
And Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods was hot garbage. That was not a good movie. The first Shazam movie was, but it wasn't because of Zachary Levi. Just being honest with you, it wasn't because of him. It was because of that kid that was on there. He was awesome. But I mean, like I said, Jonathan can make a lot of stuff work. I don't know if he's going to be star as twins in a new. I don't believe that. I really don't believe that. But
but then a lot of movies he did after that, they didn't do well in the box office for maybe two reasons. One, the movies just weren't that good.
Unapologetic Simmer, I'm asking
after the second Shazam movie, which was a huge financial flop. And two, he's just not a marketable, or in some cases, not even a likable person. So to have him on screen with,
I mean, Megan worked with him too on the Shazam movies. So Megan is very familiar with Zachary Levi. So
Jonathan Majors is gonna be very odd looking. I'll put it like that. That's what I'll just leave it at that, because I don't know what's to come of this, and honestly, I don't know if I care to want to see what will come of it. But of course, Ben Shapiro had to say something, because when this news came out, everybody was going in on it, like saying, Jonathan, why would you work with someone like Ben Shapiro? Like Ben Shapiro of all people. And I'm gonna be honest, that was one of my first initial thoughts when I first heard about it. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna insert this video, and you're gonna hear this nauseating, nasally voice, unfortunately, go on for about almost a minute.
Facts,
about his response and people's take about him getting Jonathan Majors to do this movie.
Well, folks, you may have seen this rumor that we here at Daily Wire are working with Jonathan Majors on a new movie, and that rumor is absolutely true. I know there are a lot of people on the left on accident.
This is cringe. This is cringe.
Very upset about this. They're very upset about this. There's lots of tweets. Okay, here's the deal. You want a little bit. We don't care, because Jonathan Majors was canceled all the way back in 2023. We're ecstatic to bring him back. He's unbelievably talented. And if you're upset now, wait until you see this film. Your heads are going to explode. Like, actually, maybe explode. It's pretty spectacular stuff that we're doing. That's what we do here at Daily Wire. We fight the fight. We need your help to continue to fight in the culture and to win. And to do the thing no one else.
Oh, God! Oh! I wish, man. I do not like this. I do not like this. The reason why I don't like this is the honest to God's truth, ladies and gentlemen. I wish we had that same energy for him. What I mean by we, Black Hollywood, somebody in Black Hollywood should have had that same energy for Jonathan. Because let's just say, for the sake of argument, that this was Ryan Coogler saying this. The same words, but Ryan Coogler's face. We would be jumping for flipping joy for that. If this was Spike Lee, this is, oh man. If Reginald Hunlin was still in the business like that, we didn't. I'm sorry, executive judge. We didn't come like that because he would have already been in the video. He would have already been doing a movie. No. If Black Hollywood would have had that same energy, somebody want to produce a movie, had that same energy for Jonathan, saying the same thing Ben Shapiro just said, because what he said wasn't wrong. Besides, all the people on the left is going to be mad and all of that, going just political crap, the political left wing, right wing crap. I don't care about that. What he did say was he was canceled and we're going to bring him back. If Black Hollywood would have that same energy, it was like, I don't care what they say, we're going to put you in this film. I got my production company. I got this, I got that, I got this, I got that. And we don't care what y'all say. Just see the movie. Your heads will explode. I'm trying to tell you, my mood would be different. First of all, I'll be so proud of Black Hollywood because now I understand that I will start looking at it a little differently. We may not have that gatekeeping. If Kevin Hart would have put his money behind Jonathan Majors, I would have been ecstatic. Because I know he has money. I know he has a production company. He has all of that. That's what hurts so bad. Because it's not a black man sitting up there bucking the system. It's a white man proving everybody, I can rehabilitate anybody. Look what I'm doing with him. This guy. I'm going to take it to the left. I'm going to show you what I could do. Why don't we have that same energy? And they're going to let this guy, I'm trying to tell you, they're going to let Jonathan get flambasted. Is that even a word? I say that. I'm just saying, what's up, the Fergusons? Haven't seen you in a minute. I don't give a damn about X. I don't care nothing about. I would have loved to see black people have that same energy that this guy just had. That's what I'm talking about. We can talk all this, Black Hollywood, and we boycott this and we do that, and we need to, look at the BET Awards and NAA. Y'all don't care. Y'all don't care. Y'all still waiting for the Oscars. Y'all still hold the Oscars and the Emmys and the Academy Awards up and all that other crap. You don't hold the NAACP Awards in the same level. You know what I mean? Stop playing with me. Woosah.
We'll do so. Please come join us here at DailyWirePlus.com. Join the fun.
Okay, so you just heard what Ben Shapiro had to say right there, and like I said, his voice is like nails on a chalkboard.
I get it.
Break down what he's saying. He says, so you heard about this rumor that we cast Jonathan Majors to work on this project with us. He's basically coming out and saying that it is not a rumor and that it is very true. Like I said, I pulled this from Discussing Film, this article, so I already knew that it was true just from them alone because I trusted them a whole lot more than I would trust a Ben Shapiro on any given day. So I kind of figured that it was true, but he just had to add that extra veneer, that extra layer to come out and say that yes, it is indeed true. And he says we casted Jonathan Majors. He's going to be doing this action movie. I'm curious to know what the budget for this so-called action movie is going to be, because then I'll determine what y'all are working with. Then of course he doesn't take long before he says we saw these whiny leftist people all over Twitter complaining and mad about it and everything like that. It's a reason why many people, and it doesn't even, and that's another thing. I don't know why they keep doing the leftist thing.
Thank you,
because
Victoria.
It doesn't even have to be a leftist thing.
Thank you. He didn't even have to mention that, but he did.
It could be people that's conservatively leaning to the right that are wondering the same thing. Like, it's very odd, it's very strange that someone of Jonathan Major's caliber would work with the likes of a Ben Shapiro.
Facts.
And he doesn't understand that. And probably because he doesn't want to, but that's okay because we're going to talk about it anyway. But he makes sure that, hold on, before he does this, he also said, this is going to be unlike anything you've ever seen. I'm like, Ben Shapiro, we are familiar with your so-called work. If this is your hype right here, then that's nothing. The only big draw that you have is Jonathan Majors. And I see what he's doing here because if you notice at the very end of his thing, he says, make sure to subscribe to dailywire.com because that's going to be the only way you're going to be able to watch this movie. This is not going to get a theatrical release. So, yeah, and many people are not going to subscribe to Daily Wire to watch anything, even if Jonathan Majors is in it. So what is that going to really do for his career? And speaking of his career, how is this really going to revive it? Because I've already seen, when I posted this up on my Twitter account, I've seen people saying, oh, yeah, I definitely won't be watching this. And people saying, oh, this is a big disappointment coming from Jonathan Majors or anything like that. And the things I can't even argue with them because when you look at Ben Shapiro's track record and the things that he has said specifically about Black people over the years, it makes people question and wonder why Jonathan Majors would work with someone like him, let alone like, let me rephrase it, breathe or look his way, let alone work with him. But then I also saw some comments on the flip side of this, where people were saying, why couldn't he just work with, why didn't Tyler Perry or Spike Lee or Ryan Coogler work with him? I said, true, that is very true. Why didn't some of these individuals come out and work with him? But I said, if you are like on a complete and absolute blackball from the industry, not even they can work with you, even on the back end. I mean, not saying that they can't, but I'm sure there are a lot of stipulations that would prevent them from working with him. Not saying that Tyler Perry or Spike Lee or even Ryan Coogler wouldn't want to work with him. That's probably not the thing. They probably would like to work with him, but they probably can't do it. Like I said, you got to remember at the end of the day.
That's crazy. And if you really think about it, that's crazy that they can't even do it. So how much power in Hollywood do we have? When we're talking about Black excellence, it's still controlled by whites. You got to really think about that, what he just said for just a sec. You really got to think about it. If they're saying the likes of a Spike Lee, of these big time producers, directors in Hollywood cannot, because of Hollywood, who is really running Black excellence in Hollywood? But Ben Shapiro can. That's what's crazy. Ben Shapiro can do it, but no Black people? Like, you know what I mean? Think about it like this. Torian just laid out that it is a strong possibility that these people probably want to work with him, but cannot. But Ben Shapiro can. That literally tells you who has control in Hollywood. So how much Black excellence is really in, I want to. I already know. I know. Trust me, I know. I honestly believe, Tina, he didn't play the game. I strongly believe in my heart of hearts, he didn't play the game. Now again, this ain't true. This is just my opinion. This is my conspiracy theory hat. When he met that woman on the set of Ant-Man and the Wasp and the Quantumanium, that was his coronation. But he wasn't playing the game, so she set him up. I'm sorry. I believe that. Because he wouldn't play the game, she set him up. Because why all of a sudden you know what I'm saying? That you're recording him and all of this stuff. All of a sudden, this man's the worst human being on the face of the planet, and now you gotta record him? And y'all don't think this is not a setup? And then the man gets set up. You got all this evidence on this guy. You're taking this guy down. He loses all of his jobs. You met him on the set in Disney. And then all of a sudden on a misdemeanor reckless assault, the district attorney's office is turning this into a media circus? You don't think the powers, I'm sorry, this is just, I'm not saying it happened, but I can't think of anything else that makes me think that it wouldn't happen. I believe Disney set them up so they didn't have to pay them. I honestly did. I believe Disney set all of this up, you know what I'm saying, because he wouldn't play the game, so they found a way to get him out of there. I honestly believe that. Far-fetched as it seems, it's not out of the realm of possibility because of how Hollywood works. If you don't, or you're not a part of go along, get along gang, you don't eat. And it's crazy. People think Jim Carrey is clone, but when I say this, I'm like, oh man, you tripping. You got that's going too far. Hell, some of y'all think Reptilians is in Hollywood. Oh yeah, Majors was very much innocent. Out of all the evidence and all of that we had, Jonathan Majors was innocent. He just got railroaded by Alvin Brooks. One for political reasons, and I do believe, and it's not out of the realm of possibilities. Disney put a lot of money in his pocket because guess what? These people run like the mob, and if you know anything about the mob, if you don't play the game, you ain't getting there. Sorry, I don't watch way too much stuff about. Thank you, Michael Franzese, but for putting all of this in my head. Let me keep going. Let me let Torian keep speaking so I can get to Lauren Victoria Burke's video.
Who still runs that industry at the end of the day? And if it's not them, then what can they possibly do at the end of the day? But I completely understand the gripe that people were having as it pertains to this. But one last thing I want to go over, and I probably should have inserted this somewhere else, but I forgot because I was caught up in the moment of what I was talking about, is this movie is not going to do well financially just based off of what that movie he did with Gina Carano, that Terror on the Prairie flick. That abysmal box office for that Terror on the Prairie film. Look at this. Gina Carano's film Terror on the Prairie that came out in 2022, produced by Ben Shapiro's The Daily Wire, had a limited theatrical release, grossing only $804 in the U.S. and $13,115 internationally. The film was primarily released to subscribers of The Daily Wire rather than for a wide theatrical run, with box office data on Wikipedia showing minimal traditional box office numbers. So what this says to me is that, yes, they can release this movie theatrically, but they chose not to because it was almost like a gamble. And then it didn't really have a big draw. I mean, if they did a wide release, it would look terrible. So they did a limited release, but I don't know how much of a limited release they did for it to only make $804 domestically, which means only a small handful of people went and saw this movie, and instead it made $13,115 internationally, which says to me they were probably making money more on the back end from the streaming. Because I don't know if they said the movie had an international release, which means they didn't have that much of an international release because like the gap is not that far off. This is crazy. That is insane.
And me and Tori talked about that when I had my live on Sunday. The countries that they shown that in was Russia, United Arab Emirate. Yeah. Am I right? Yeah. The United Arabs in Russia. What do they have in common with the government of the United States? One just helped David Ellison buy Paramount. The other was supposedly part of the election, the election fraud to help Donald Trump get in office by using bots and all of that online. Yeah. Just saying.
And when I looked at that, I'm like, what are they going to do with Jonathan's movie? Like, what are they going to do? Are they going to push this movie further than limited release? Because again, Jonathan Majors is a way bigger name than Gina Carano ever was or ever hoped to be. So what are they going to do with this as far as distribution goes? There's a lot of questioning that goes into this. One, why Jonathan would work with this dude. Two, what is Ben Shapiro's ultimate agenda at the end of the day, especially when he leaves a message the way that he did? And three, how much money are they expecting to make? And also another thing, speaking of money,
I just want to know if it's on the level of Rebel Ridge, then you might got me. I'll watch it. I'm just saying. Just want to throw that out there. I love Jonathan's talent though. His talent is undeniable. This is just crazy.
Oh, certain Jonathan isn't doing this movie for free. So how much is Ben paying this dude? How much is really? Like, I'm sure he's going to be getting, like, he's not going to get paid anywhere near than what he was when he was doing Creed 3 and Loki and Ant-Man. Like, he's not going to see any money like that. But how is he going to financially incentivize Jonathan Majors? And even though I don't care for Zachary Levi, he's got to get paid too. Definitely nowhere near what Jonathan's getting paid, but he has to get paid too, because I mean, I'm sure it's a contractual thing. So it's a lot of questions that people have as it pertains to this so-called project.
Yeah, I agree to Ferguson.
I think like I said, my initial reaction was just like, I can't believe what I'm reading. It's a little bit of shock, but I'm also not surprised because this was what you call a last resort. And I was looking at a video, or maybe it was a stream that Dre Mack had did, and he said this man, he just wants to act. And you can tell that he definitely does, because when you look at this man's acting capability, you can say a lot of things about Jonathan Majors, but one thing you cannot say is that this man is a bad actor. He is a phenomenal actor. If you don't believe me, just look at every role that this man does. He loses himself in every role that he does. And he's classically trained, so that helps a lot as well. But on the flip side, this can very much further taint his image.
Very much.
If he wants to get back in good graces with
them.
I mean, there's still people out there that think that he's completely guilty of everything that happened that night, even though we saw the footage. But then to turn around and then work with the likes of a Ben Shapiro, who is not in good graces in almost any industry that he's in, especially when it comes to Hollywood, that's going to make people look at him again and start saying, okay, we tried, but we can't. Or they were just looking for an excuse. They were holding on to something and they were waiting for the other shoe to drop. Here's the other shoe dropping. And now they have something or a reason to really not like him. So I can say at the end of the day, I don't agree with this move that he made, and that's where I'm at with it. But at the end of the day, he has to do what he feels he has to do.
Yep.
So that's pretty much my take on it.
Okay.
Y'all let me know what y'all think. When I first saw this bit of news,
all right. So that is Torian's take on it. I'm gonna bring up Lauren Victoria Burke's take on it, but before I do that, I gotta take another commercial break. I'm not gonna lie. I gotta stretch my legs or something. You know what I mean? I gotta stretch my legs or something. So I'll be right back. This is a short commercial break, but I'll be right back with more of the Jerry Mack Show.
Knight Rider will continue in a moment.
Them biscuits I smell, Mom.
That's my Hungry Jack.
Tommy takes one of them. Them my mama biscuits. Them my mama biscuits.
Switching to Geico really save you 15% or more on car insurance? Does a 10-pound bag of flour make a really big biscuit?
All right. I gotta get another biscuit commercial up in here because I gotta add to the buttery biscuitness that's going on around here. What's going on, Duran? Wagwan, my brother. Wagwan. All right, let me. I didn't have her video popped up. What am I doing? I thought I had her video already up, but I didn't. My sister Lauren Live. I like Lauren Live Show. I love that she changed her name on here. This is my sister right here, though. That's my sister. But she had an interesting take on Jonathan too that I want to play. I know right now she's going to be doing a lot because she's been talking about the Jasmine Crockett situation. So hold on, let me get past her. Okay, so this was going to go kind of fast too. This one is a little longer, but I'm not going to say I'm going to stop it when I stop it, but let me just put our sister Lauren Victoria Burke on here. Beautiful woman, beautiful soul, love her to death. Let's hear what she has to say.
I'll read some of this so everybody's sort of up to speed on what I'm talking about. Jonathan Majors makes movie comeback in Daily Wire action pick. Filming this week in South Carolina. The Daily Wire was created by Ben Shapiro. This piece by Andreas Weissman was written on February 26, 2026. Exclusive. Creed 3 and Ant-Man star Jonathan Majors is shooting his first movie in 4 years as cameras roll this week in South Carolina on an untitled action film from the Daily Wire and Bonfire legend. Kelly Rankin, Run, Hide, Fight, is directing from his own screenplay. The title plot and other casts are being kept under wraps for now. I bet they are. But the story is said to be in the vein of 80s and 90s action films Red Dawn and Toy Soldiers, which were both about groups of teenage boys, but to band together sorry, there's an ad there that pops out of nowhere. It's really annoying, Daily Wire. To band together to defeat invading enemies. Ben Shapiro, The Ben Shapiro Show, and Dallas Sonier are producing the Daily Wire and Bonfire Legend, respectfully, for Daily Wire. Travis Mills, Lillian Campbell, and Sydney Akuraman are also producing. Yeah, so stopping right there. This is a red flag.
What up, Blue?
And I know that Jonathan Majors and his team are probably not sitting around because they're normal people who have careers paying attention to Ben Shapiro. And really, they shouldn't be. And I know most people probably, it's like when Charlie Kirk died. I had a ton of people who asked me, who is Charlie Kirk?
And honestly, that was a good observation that she did, because I'll be honest with you, I didn't know who Charlie Kirk was either until well, actually, I knew of him. I didn't know him. I just seen him debating one day. They were there. I forgot, somebody was doing reaction videos to his debates and breaking down his debates. That's the only reason. Other than that, I never watched this guy's show. After watching some of the debates and stuff like that, I didn't care to. You know what I mean? So, but I didn't know who he was. I knew about Ben Shapiro and Daily Wire because of Candace Owens. You know what I mean? And I was one of those type of people who I would listen to Candace Owens to hear what the hell she had to say and shake my head in the majority of it. Like, she could be on the road. She could be actually saying something that's really thoughtful and then destroy it. You know what I mean? And I'm one of those type of people, when I first heard about Candace Owens, I tried to give her a chance to listen, to actually sit down, listen, no emotion, no feeling. Let me listen to you. And I was like, man, I can't do it. I was like, I get it, because she's saying some good stuff here, and then here it goes, falling all completely to hell. You know what I mean? And, you know, but people say that about me. So that's the only reason. And again, they're probably not even thinking of who this guy is. Jonathan might not know who this guy is, because, again, meeting this guy, this dude is not plugged in like that. I hate to say it like that, but it's the God's honest truth. He was like, dude, I don't really get on social media. I don't follow nothing. I listen to podcasts. That's it. The only reason why you will see him on social media right now is because of Megan and her team. That's the only reason why you see him doing videos and all of that stuff. Other than that, this dude was a mystery. And let's not act like we knew everything about Jonathan, because, hell, we didn't even know he was dating anybody, let alone a part of the Jabari tribe trying to take down the king.
Who is this? You know, in geekhead, pointy-headed political circles, everybody knew who Charlie Kirk was. But the average American is dropping their kids off at soccer practice, living their life, going to work, didn't know or care who Charlie Kirk was. And it's probably the same thing with Ben Shapiro. The reason that's deceptive, of course, is that Ben Shapiro has a major media platform with millions of people watching. So
That's very factual, Jay.
Who these people are and what they do and what they say. And, you know, he's got millions of people, millions of subs. And a lot of people would not pay attention, particularly, I think, in the world of the arts. They would only vaguely know who he is, you know, and why this is a very interesting pairing. Ben Shapiro is a right-wing, big mouth. He's a smart guy. He is a smart guy, but he uses his intelligence, in my view, for all the wrong reasons. And that sort of smart alecky thing that people do tends to make money only if you are in the corners that he's in.
Yeah.
If you don't have the talent to sing and you can't do any athletics, you end up being that person who runs their mouth all day online. Okay, fine. Jonathan Majors is a gifted actor.
Oh, man, that's
Jonathan Majors' acting talent is off the chain, as we've already seen. Maybe it's the case. I don't know the details, but maybe it's the case that he's unable to get buy-in on his career from a major studio. There is about to be, I think, a major shift in Hollywood because of AI and a major disruptive course because of that technology. So who knows whether or not Jonathan Majors can re-enter into traditional Hollywood. Maybe the reason this whole thing is happening is because he can't re-enter. I suspect that that's what it is. But
So she said the big push for AI could be a reason why he won't come in the way that it was beforehand. That is something that I didn't catch. I didn't even think about that. That's interesting. That's very interesting.
I just want everyone to understand who Ben Shapiro is and what Ben Shapiro traffics in and what he says and what he focuses on. And he is he is quite something. I'm sure most people probably are aware of another person who's conservative on the right, Charlie Kirk, who of course was murdered late last year. And in that moment, everybody got an opportunity to really look up close at the views of Charlie Kirk. The reason that's important in this context is that Ben Shapiro was trying to own the mantle of Charlie Kirk at one point and couldn't do it because, quite frankly, he has nowhere near the charisma that Charlie Kirk had. As much as I couldn't stand Charlie Kirk, he was a charismatic figure, and he tended to communicate in a way that was compelling to a lot of people. At least it would make you listen for a little bit. Okay. And Shapiro has none of that. He has none of that. And let's listen to what it was. Let's listen to part of the mantle that Shapiro was trying to inherit. Let's listen to a little of that.
Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
Doesn't this sound eerily familiar to a guy we know that said Recast T'Challa they were so unserious? And it was this snarky, like, uppity attitude. Orange Mound! Betty.
So this is what Charlie Kirk loved to talk about. I love to talk about race. I'm old enough to remember when all these conservatives were saying to black people, like, Al Sharpton and so forth. And so you guys are so obsessed with race. You want to talk about race all the time. You talk about race all the time. They talk about race all the time, right? I mean, Stephen Miller and Donald Trump, this is all they talk about is race. Yes. That's all they talk about is race. They just want us to stop talking about the true history of the United States. That makes them very uncomfortable because, of course, it completely is against all the things that they want you to focus on in terms of everything being so perfect. But they don't want to deal with the negative aspects. And this is a really interesting clip of Ben Shapiro. Again, the man who wanted to own the mantle of Charlie Kirk and, of course, couldn't do it because he doesn't have the charisma and he's just sort of an annoyance.
My son could have been Trayvon. And people on the right saw that as like, well, but that's not true. You are an upper-class black man who is living in the White House. And unless your son was mistaken for a prowler going around at night in a neighborhood, then no, that actually wouldn't happen.
I kind of feel like that sentence is self-refuting. Right? Like Ben Shapiro on the one hand is like, I'm mad because Obama mentioned that Trayvon could have been his son. And the next breath is like, well, he could have been your son because your son wouldn't have been mistaken for a prowler skulking around the neighborhood. And I was like, I want to do the that's racist meme. I'm like, why was Trayvon mistaken for a prowler? Like, he wouldn't have been mistaken for a prowler if he was Ben Shapiro's son. I don't.
And Ben Shapiro, let's put it a little more like this. Ben Shapiro is a grifter. That's all it is. It boiled down to he's a right-wing grifter. And he made a lot of money grifting. You know what I mean? Saying the most, I've seen things, especially when it came to black people in politics or whatever, going against women. Lauren is right. He does not have the charisma of Charlie Kirk. He doesn't. You know what I mean? You can hear the bull crap coming out of Charlie Kirk's mouth, but to other people, it sounds compelling. You know what I mean? It sounds very compelling. If you have any logical sense, you can hear the bull crap. But he's saying the same thing that Neurotic was saying, because President Obama's rich. He's in the White House. Your son couldn't have been Trayvon. It couldn't have been, because you're rich. You don't have to deal with that. You're getting everything thrown to you and all that. Jeez. All right.
Don't believe. To me, I'm very unsatisfied by the fact that our rancor was driven by like a stray comment that Barack Obama made out of a place of human empathy, and the fact that he had to have a beer summit with a cop and a professor. That feels so quaint compared to where we are, and it's too quaint to accept. Yeah,
and of course that was Ben Shapiro's take on race, because Ben Shapiro doesn't know nothing about race, and Ben Shapiro doesn't care anything about anything or anybody except one country on the planet. And anytime it's any sort of racism against anybody else or bigotry against any other group, he could care less. That's his brand. Yep. It gets even better, John Majors fans. Ben Shapiro has a major obsession with George Floyd, and that major obsession ended up in almost a pardon for the cop who killed George Floyd. It also ended up being a documentary that Ben Shapiro put together, trying to argue that George Floyd died not because a knee was on his neck for 9 freaking minutes on camera, which we all unfortunately had to agonizingly witness, but that, he was a drug addict, and that's the real reason that George Floyd died. This was a major obsession for Ben Shapiro. And this is the type of person Ben Shapiro is. First of all, anybody who...
And remember, Candace Owens did the actual video trying to debunk. I watched that video. I watched the whole thing because I was on a podcast with a guy. He was like, I watched 2 Daily Wire videos that I can never get my life back from. The George Floyd one, because I had to watch it so we could discuss it or whatever, and I could get my thoughts on it. The second one was, was it Am I a Woman or something like that? I don't know. What is a woman or whatever. So we discussed it on this guy's podcast. which was weird. Why did I have to watch that? But again, I'm one of those type of people. You want me to watch it? I'm fair. I'll watch it or whatever. That doesn't mean I liked it. And the George Floyd one was really, because all the evidence from the coroner and all of that was just ignored to push a narrative about we're making George Floyd a martyr. This guy was so bad. He was so horrible. And, I'm not saying he don't deserve to die, but he put himself in that situation. So, oh, well, that's what it made it say. It was so not empathetic. It was wild. And just discussing that. I don't even know if dude got his podcast anymore, but I mean, it was, yeah.
Would take this up as an argument has to be questioned. Why would this be the thing that you put your life energy in? I have absolutely no idea, but damn it, he sure has put his life energy in. Wouldn't stop talking about it and still hasn't stopped talking about it. He loves talking about how George Floyd somehow was, oh my God, he's a druggie. That's the real reason. It wasn't because the cop did anything.
Employment was skyrocketing. Citizens were effectively imprisoned in their homes by government mandate. The psychological and economic strain on Americans was immense. People couldn't work, couldn't socialize, they couldn't go to church. Basic freedoms were suspended indefinitely, with constantly shifting justifications from health authorities, all of which created a pressure cooker of social tension waiting to explode. Lockdowns had particularly devastating effects on low-income communities where people couldn't simply work from home on their laptops.
Yeah, he's of course, explaining that Black Lives Matter period of 2020, 2021.
Jobs were lost, savings were depleted, futures were uncertain. The media stoked fears about the virus while simultaneously downplaying the devastating consequences of lockdown itself. It was in this powder keg environment, with people frustrated, economically stressed, socially isolated, already primed to see everything through a racial lens after years of media conditioning, that the incomplete video of Floyd's arrest went viral.
Yeah, it's media conditioning that Black people are talking about racism and police brutality. We've been talking about police brutality since the Edmund Pettus Bridge March, which started because of an incident of police brutality. All right. That was now 70 years ago. I mean, this guy, because he's too young to, and probably doesn't even know the history of the civil rights movement.
Or he doesn't know the history of policing, which, a lot of people don't understand that your modern day police force, the roots of it comes from the slave patrol. The slave patrol used to go around and round up runaway slaves. But then after the Emancipation Proclamation, those same people who were rounding up runaway slaves became cops.
Probably doesn't know that John Lewis had a section of his speech at the March on Washington
He sounds like
on police brutality, which I think they asked him to shorten. Police brutality has been a subject in the Black community forever. Malcolm X talked about it. John Lewis talked about it in the 60s. It was talked about in the 50s, talked about all the time because police have always treated Black communities differently than other communities.
On the evening of the arrest, Eric Chauvin was working as a field training officer in the Minneapolis Police Department's 3rd Precinct. He was partnered with Officer Tao Thao, patrolling one of the...
You see how fast he's talking compared to Lauren, just with this being a little half speed up. If you talk fast, you can miss the points. That's what it is.
Higher crime areas of Minneapolis. Meanwhile, George Floyd spent part of his day with friends. At approximately 8 p.m., Floyd walked into the Cup Foods grocery store at the intersection of 38th Street and Chicago Avenue in Minneapolis' Powderhorn Park neighborhood. Surveillance footage from inside the store shows Floyd moving around, acting erratic, interacting with store employees and customers. According to Christopher Martin, the 19-year-old cashier who testified at Chauvin's trial, Floyd appeared to be high, but was very friendly, approachable, and talkative. Floyd purchased cigarettes with a $20 bill that Martin believed to be counterfeit because...
Yeah, okay. Once again, I show this only to say Ben Shapiro is obsessed with George Floyd, but he's obsessed with George Floyd only to try to tell everybody that, oh, it wasn't the police officer that killed him. It's not, the police officer wasn't at fault. And by the way, I'm the child of a police officer who was a cop during some of the worst days in the Bronx, New York, in the 70s and 80s. Okay. So I understand there's crime out there. I understand the role of police. It's a very complicated job. You're asked to do everything, be babysitter, be marriage counselor, get cats out of trees and everything else. Totally understood. But this particular incident, which is the only thing I'm talking about, this particular incident, his death, George Floyd, that should not have happened. It should not have happened. And of course, what it did was it sparked a $90 million fundraising win for Black Lives Matter. And conservatives on the right hate that. They hate the fact that Black Lives Matter got all that money, was able to fund a bunch of stuff. And then, of course, they then went after Black Lives Matter and their money because they can't stand it when Black people have that much money sitting around, and particularly off of something like this, which was, quite frankly, a vestige of American history that rises up current day very frequently. And this one happened to be caught. This one happened to be caught on camera. And so Ben Shapiro, for some reason, has this obsession with trying to say that George Floyd is somehow dead because of George Floyd. It's his fault. Doesn't that sound familiar, Team Jonathan Majors? That's the same argument that was made against Trayvon Martin. Remember, it was Trayvon Martin's fault that he was dead. It wasn't George Zimmerman's fault. It was Trayvon Martin's fault.
I mean, she's cooking with fish grease. She's cooking with fish grease right now. And again, remember we just did the send me, if you could send me that, D Sizzle. If you could find that, send that to me. But let me see. Oh, Lord have mercy. I just lost my train of thought. Wasn't it the same argument that was Neurotic was saying about that it's not it's if we wasn't using those type of words, you know, then it wouldn't have any power. It's not the guy with Tourette's fault. It's not his fault. You know, black people use that all the time. So y'all need to get over it. Same thing.
Because you happen to go out and get Skittles and iced tea during a break in the All-Star game, and some idiot happens to come up to you in the night, in the rain, in the dark, and confront you, which you had absolutely no business and no authority to do. George Zimmerman is not a cop. He's nobody. Had no business coming up to Trayvon Martin. But remember, the argument on the other side was that somehow Trayvon Martin did something to cause the fight. It's all his fault that he's dead. It's always the dead guy's fault. Isn't that funny? Always the dead guy's fault. So here we have Ben Shapiro droning on and on and on and on about this thing that is George Floyd, because this was a defining moment for racial politics, for race history in the United States, for Black Lives Matter. And he knows that, which is why he's trying to somehow undo it, which is why he spent an hour on 2 videos running his mouth about it, because that is what Ben Shapiro has been doing for like 2 or 3 years now. And it got to a point, like I said, when Trump came back into office, there was a rumor that he was going to pardon the guy. He can't really do it as state charges, although there were federal charges involved as well. But give me a break, man. You know, Jonathan Majors, there's a lot of people to partner with. This guy is probably not the best choice. Maybe he's the only choice that Jonathan Majors has, as I said before. I certainly hope not. But I would keep.
That's the question. That is the question. Was this your only choice? You know, was this your only choice? And that's why everybody's saying, I hope he wasn't, but, you know.
Keep in mind who you're dealing with. I would keep in mind who you're dealing with, because the way these conservatives do their business is they use black people to forward their nonsense. They use black people to forward their avatar. I mean, look at Fox News. Maybe Jonathan Majors is a conservative, and I don't know. Maybe he's a political conservative. I don't know. Could be. He has every right to have any political view he wants, and maybe he's conservative. But all I know is when you see people like Clarence Thomas and Lawrence Jones and Harris Faulkner, there's a reason they're on the air. They are on the air to undermine whatever it is that black folks are asking for at any given time.
And just know Harrison Faulkner used to be the news anchor for our local Fox affiliate, Fox 4, here in Kansas City. So in a lot of people that actually was in Fox 4 were conservatives, you know. So, but she's just saying maybe he is, maybe he's not. That she doesn't know.
And they use black people to do that. So when we're talking about a movie piece that could go on for 2 hours, that has some endless possibilities. Oh, let's get a black actor that everybody can identify, put him in some sort of a conservative role, doing something conservative that has some sort of conservative message, and boom. And I would be careful if I was Team Jonathan Majors, because you already have, as one of your problematic features out there, the conversation that happened where he was comparing somebody to Coretta Scott King. That was a thing that stuck, because everybody knows who Coretta Scott King is. And when you compare a white woman to Coretta Scott King, that was sort of inherently problematic on his face. But I kind of gave John Majors a pass on that because he's young. You know, he's only in his 30s. So he didn't grow up around the civil rights movement, Martin Luther King, Coretta Scott King, all that. I don't think he completely realized the full extent of what he was saying in that statement. You know, when you're 34 years old, you're probably not going to realize.
And what are you talking about as far as his career? If that's how he wants to do his career, you know, the only thing you could really say is good luck, dude. I'm praying for you. You know, and again, because the conversation that I had with him in New York, you know, he is just so passionate about acting, and this is his love. He probably would do anything. But the old saying song, what you won't do for love. You tried everything and you won't give up. And for a long time, no, that dude was white. And he made an absolutely amazing song. Love that song.
You know who Coretta Scott King is. I mean, knows who Coretta Scott King is. And I think Jonathan Majors is an extremely smart guy. I can kind of tell just by the
things you do for love, what you would not do.
And listening to him and everything else. He's no dum-dum. But I'm just telling you that these sort of cultural moments where you get involved with somebody who is a questionable character, and I can assure you that Ben Shapiro is smart, though, right? Dangerously smart, right? But this is not for the culture. Whatever that movie's going to be, it ain't going to be for the culture. It's not going to be to help black people out. It's going to be to run some sort of narrative, almost absolutely guaranteed, without even knowing what it is. I'm going to say that, and I'll bet you I'm right. Now I could be wrong. I'll come back and say if I'm wrong, but I bet you I won't be, because Ben Shapiro has zero history of helping out the community, the black community.
Yep.
Zero.
Okay,
so this is going to be an op, whatever the heck this is. This is a fellow that was talking about Ben Shapiro online. Just sort of as I was searching around, found this.
Because Candace Owens has become a monster, a behemoth, a force on the right to make the right anti-Israel. Yeah, Israel spending millions aimed on an effort aimed at Christian right in the U.S. allegedly as a part of an attempt to combat anti-Semitism. Haaretz reveals a network of pro-Israel sites. They are trying.
For him, and what he's showing you there is that absolutely psychotic things. How are we going to?
And let me just say this: what I won't do, I can't put that on the next man because of the way I grew up. The way I grew up. There's certain I and my brother knows I left Hollywood. I left Hollywood. I left LA. It was too weird. I didn't feel right. I did not feel right. So I left California. Especially after spending some time in Hollywood and trying to go on. But Erica D, is she saying anything wrong in this? Because I want you to put it in the comment section what she's saying that you don't agree with, what you do agree with, what you don't agree with.
Keep this thing together as a certain portion of the right is going nuts. That is going to be the challenge.
Every part of the story is conspiracy about Israel. That's it.
Blah, blah. This is basically a clip about the fact that there's a war going on the conservative right with Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro. This is another thing that John Majors needs to steer the heck clear of, if you ask me. There's a war because Candace Owens is criticizing the widow of what's his
Charlie
name?
Kirk.
I'm sorry. Who I'd mentioned before. Now my mind is blank. And now there's a whole big war. I really don't pay that much attention to these people because this is silliness. This is their little inter-party fight that very few people.
Hassan used to be on TYT too.
It's early in the morning here on the East Coast, 9 a.m. So Charlie Kirk's widow. For some reason, Candace Owens is locked on to want to have a whole big conspiracy theory around Charlie Kirk's widow. I don't think this is anything anybody really needs to pay that much attention to. But if John Major's partnering with Ben Shapiro, you might want to pay attention to it because these are the things these people traffic in. They traffic in feuds and stupid rivalries, don't mean anything, and running their mouth online. Those are the things that they do. They don't add anything to anybody. They don't pay anybody's mortgage other than their own. They don't help anybody else out. They don't add to anything culturally that's of any note. They just argue back and forth. So again, we'll see what this movie is about. Okay. But I am not really all that hopeful. Okay. It's good to see that Jonathan Majors is doing something out there. I think he's way too talented not to have several opportunities. But again, I'm not privy to what those opportunities are or aren't. Mm-hmm. But I have a very, very sneaking suspicion that this is not going to go well. This is going to put him in the category. You always have to remember, if you're Jonathan Majors and black people are watching you, and black people are your fans, and black people are out there watching your movies and buying tickets, and they're interested in your life, and they see that your crazy ass ex-girlfriend is chasing you down the street in Manhattan, and that probably reflects that she's the crazy one and not you, and all those things, right? You have to remember that is part of your fan base, and your fan base is going to notice that you have partnered with some right-wing person who is against anything black, right? And has always got something to say to run his mouth, because that's Ben Shapiro. He's always got something to say to run his mouth against somebody black.
What she's saying is not wrong at all. Again, if you ever see me on an episode of Geeks and Gamers, you know I'm tasting the biscuits. This is all I'm saying. You ever see me on an episode of Geeks and Gamers? You ever see me on an episode of Neurotic or Critical Drinker? No, I'm singing a new tune. Trust me, that check cleared. You won't. But just letting you know, the check cleared. Not that it's wrong, just that it's making assumptions towards Jonathan's intention and even his political views. She can't discuss Ben. All she wants. The receipts are there, but Jonathan, I would never make these kind of statements about someone. I understand where you're coming from, on that. It is a lot of assuming assumptions. It's not any facts because we don't know his political leanings. We don't know why he took the job. If he even knew who Ben Shapiro was in the first. We don't know none of that, and probably would never know any of that. You know what I mean? Probably would never know any of that. We don't know if Johnson's going to talk about that or not. I would say, at this point in time, and you guys said this earlier, Robin, Erica, I think even Miss Roberta said time. Time tells everything. And we got to let time happen. so we can know what we're dealing with. I'm not going to make any assumptions because I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I just want time to tell, because time tells the whole entire secret. You know what I mean? It has I told you, when Ben Shapiro was saying that, I wish it was a black person saying that. Had that gall and that gumption to say, we putting this guy out. We're doing this. We're doing that. You know, it was heartbreaking to hear Torian said, well, maybe they can't work with him, but then Ben Shapiro can. It's just this is difficult. This is very difficult, especially for me. Very difficult for me.
All right. And the fact that he went against a dead guy that was choked out under somebody's knee for 9 minutes, begging for his mother, and is dead when he shouldn't be. And that's the thing that Ben Shapiro picked out of all the things in this world to talk about, to go after. That's a problem. And most black people who are fans of John Majors are going to know who George Floyd is and what happened to George Floyd. They're going to remember that video. And here you are partnering with a person who tried to act like somehow or another it was George Floyd's fault that he was dead. That's going to be noticed. That's all I would say. I mean, that's going to be noticed. You know, you want those same people to come running out and buying tickets, right? You want them buying tickets and supporting your work, supporting your career. And you pick Ben Shapiro of all the people in the world to partner with. Yeah, that is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. He's got an entire documentary bloviating about George Floyd. Now George Floyd, well, that's not what really happened. And, you know, his other thing that he's bloviating is another bloviating video is Candace Owens. He hates Candace Owens. Look, Candace Owens and him are both conservatives. But I just want to remind, Candace Owens is a black woman out there doing the exact same thing he's doing. And the reason that he can't stand Candace Owens is because she's critical of Israel. That's the only reason. It was great when Candace Owens was criticizing the black community and throwing the black community under the bus and telling everybody slavery didn't matter and black history didn't matter. Then Candace Owens was the greatest person in the world for Ben Shapiro. The minute she criticized that very topic, the only one of which he cares about, now all of a sudden, Candace Owens is the devil. Candace Owens was pushed out of the Daily Wire. And, you know, that now your usefulness has become zero because you're not saying what I want you to say. Look, Ben Shapiro has a right to his views. There's a lot of anti-Semitism in the Republican Party. I can never figure out why that fits comfortably for him because there's a lot of anti-Semitism in the Republican Party. And we're seeing a lot of it right now as this Iranian thing goes forward. But dude, really? When I say dude, I'm talking about Jonathan Majors. You want to get involved with all this? For what? None of these people have a history of helping out any community that Jonathan Majors comes from. And so they're going to...
I just wish it was our community that would have just jumped on the ship. You know what I mean? Because I get where she's coming from. At the same time, I just wish it was our community.
Use him as an avatar to play to run some sort of narrative. That's my prediction for this. Hopefully I'm wrong. You know, hopefully I'm wrong. And yeah, maybe he is blackballed from Hollywood, Daryl, and he needs work and money. Maybe that's true. And if that's true, you know, we have to make decisions in life. I get it. If in fact Jonathan Majors is blackballed, we do have some sense of that. He has not had a major film. You know, there was always the rumors that Marvel might have him back. It hasn't happened yet. It's funny when it's a white actor that gets into a controversy, you know, Downey or one of these other people. No, oh, then suddenly we have him back again. Right? I mean, it's incredible the difference when it's a straight black male versus almost any other category. Okay. I mean, you can get away with anything in Hollywood, really. I mean, we've seen people go on drugs and come back from that. We've seen people, you know, go to jail doing this and that, have assault, this and that, come back from almost anything. And somehow Jonathan Majors can't come back? Really? That's kind of weird, you know. And to me, I don't know. I just think that John Majors should have been back already, you know. And if Alec Baldwin can shoot somebody dead on set, I know by accident, of course. But he came back from that. Johnny Depp, that is a good example. So, yeah, I mean, you come back from anything. Johnny Depp, though, remember, he went through court and basically proved that Megan Good was a bit of a nut. Okay. And then that he was the victim of a lot of.
Yeah, I know she went Amber Heard, but I'm going to finish the rest of this to see what more she has to say. And then I'm going to wrap this up. Hold on.
I mean, when somebody throws a bottle across a room at somebody and clips off the tip of their finger, which is what Megan Good did with Johnny Depp, that's craziness.
Amber.
That is absolute craziness. So Johnny Depp did a really good job in court at proving that, hey, this abuse thing has two tracks to it. But getting back to Daryl's point, yeah, I get it. There's definitely, you know, he's probably.
I think she meant Amber Heard.
The best decision he could have made. You know, please tell me that's the reason. But man, Ben Shapiro, I mean, you know, you're talking about a character that is quite interesting. You know, like I said, obsession. The two things he hates most apparently are Candace Owens and George Floyd. Both of those people are black. That's all I know. I mean, that's what I know sitting here right now. Those are two people he rails against more than anybody: Candace Owens and George Floyd.
Exactly.
He's got a complete blind spot. What a surprise! He has a complete blind spot on race because he doesn't know what he's talking about. And he's too young to have been around during the last part of the civil rights movement, even as a little kid. He's too young for that. So he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. And our American school system doesn't teach all that. So you would have to go find out. You would have to go find out about what happened, what really happened, not only with the civil rights movement, but after the Civil War, during the Civil War, before the Civil War, all that stuff. I'm going to go ahead and say, as smart as Shapiro is, I mean, he's a smart guy, but he doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to the black experience in the United States. He has no respect for it, doesn't know anything about it, and talks like he doesn't know anything about it. Okay? Because the things that he says are ridiculous. And only really talks about black people in the context of crime. That's the little trick that these right-wingers always do. Every time they bring black people, they always bring crime up in the same sentence. So we're black and crime are in the same sentence, only a few words apart. That's all intentional. You know, all intentional. So Amber Heard, that whole thing that happened with Johnny Depp, yeah, he escaped, but, you know, oh, man, I knew he didn't have any money when that could have been, well, that apparently there was a settlement in that case, and we don't know whether it was monetary or otherwise. I didn't see an apology come out, so I don't know. But the fact that this thing was derailed, you know, his career was derailed by her was enough. The minute that she heard, the minute that ex-girlfriend read the words in that text that says, Grace, did you leave the keys? That's when all of a sudden it turned into, oh, he abused me. That's what it was. All right. I mean, the minute that she figured out she couldn't go to his big multi-million-dollar lower Manhattan crash pad, now all of a sudden I'm mad at him in a way that I want to destroy his freaking career.
Right, and that's exactly what happened the night of when we seen the text message. People was like, oh, it sounds like an abuser. I was like, this looks heavily redacted, but it looks like he asked her to, where, you know what I'm saying, they redacted her name at the time and said, you know, put your keys down. And all of a sudden, remember, she was laying on the floor doing the Toy Story thing. 15 minutes before he even got there, she was speaking to her friend. You know what I mean? So it was just so much in that.
Wow. But before that, everything was great. Everything was fine. And I'm chasing him. I'm so scared of him that I'm chasing him down the streets of Manhattan. Give me a break. Alvin Bragg should be ashamed of himself. But that's another story. Again, I went over that thoroughly, and I do think Jonathan Majors absolutely, you know, it was a typical thing that's happened for decades, for centuries in this country to black men. I mean, it's just what it was. It was just played out in a different way. It played out in court. But that was, if that had been a white actor, none of that happens. None of that stuff goes to court. It gets settled before that or figured out before that. None of that goes to court. So at any rate, yeah, Ben Shapiro and Jonathan Majors. Can't wait to see the details on this. And I will be back to talk about the details when we find out what this movie is about. Okay, Red Dawn? Not really. I mean, I don't know. You know, color me skeptical on the guy that hates George Floyd and Candace Owens. Color me skeptical on the guy who always seems to figure out a way to do big, long documentaries hating on black people. Yeah, color me skeptical on that. This is Lauren Burke. This is Lauren Live. I see a comment that just came in here.
Okay, so I'm going to end that because I think that's it. I don't think there's any more that she talks about on this. And again, tell me what you guys think about this. I'm gonna get one last commercial break, and I'll be right back. I'm gonna give you my final thoughts on this, and I'll be right back with more of the Dre Mack Show.
Knight Rider will continue in a moment.
Wow, 19,000! For sure. It's her!
This is the problem with being rich.
Your only other nickname is Dick?
No.
So you understand the words I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is that there are known knowns and that there are known unknowns, but there's also unknown unknowns. Things we don't know that we don't know.
What?
Coach, I've got AIDS.
Wrong. You're HIV positive. Big difference. It could be years before you even get sick.
With That's My Slow Jam, we found a way to get you all these slow grinding hits at an unbeatably low price. Act now and get all 58 songs for only 52 cents per track.
Just a good old boy.
So skip it, to run, to jump, to hop, hop.
Hi.
Now the conclusion of
Darling, are you all right?
Oh, what happened?
The robot ducked.
Oh, it's a private room. Lock the door.
Of course. First, let me close the blinds. I think someone's calling me.
I didn't hear anything.
Hello?
Monsieur Stedman, this is the Mayor of France.
It's the mayor of France.
It seems that Colonel Haight...
You mean Professor Haight?
Yes,
Professor Hate is still alive and he's vowing to destroy you and all of France. There's not a moment to lose.
You got to give me 10 minutes alone with my fiancée. I'm begging you, man.
No, out of the question. Hurry, my yacht is outside.
Darling, I hate to ask, but...
How much do you need?
I'll bring you the change.
Nice of you to drop in, Stedman.
James Brolin. As always, your timing is perfect.
Please, call me Captain Laser.
Still battling Dr. Chaos? I bet Babs is worried sick.
Hey, how does Oprah let you out of the house without a costume?
I'm a secret agent.
Damn! You're good.
I'm the luckiest woman on earth.
All right. Let me get to this. You said you think she's really gonna have the courage to walk all of that shit talk back, or is she going to see the movie and overanalyze to support her narrative? We're all capable of it. I don't know. I can't even answer that. I can't answer that. So I don't know. She did say if that's the way that she sees it differently, she will come and apologize. You know, I don't know. I would think she will. You know, you put it on camera, you know, you want to make sure you stand on business when you come back, you know. But like I said, time. In due time, we'll see all of this. And I guarantee you, if this is an action film, this film could get made in like 4 to 6 months. We're looking at post-production afterwards. Within, let's say they did not magazine jury. They did Sinners in 9 months from post to getting it out there. I would say let's just wait. Wait and see. I don't think Lauren would have a problem with apologizing. You know what I mean? I don't think she would have a problem with that. And like I said, when you put it on camera, you guys stand on like I'm standing on business with everybody who said, you know, oh, Warner Brothers would never get sold to Paramount. And it was like, yeah, it will. And now look at me, looking dumb. Thanks, Netflix. And then I'm hearing that that they might not get it either. So, but like I said, I can't give my money to Daily Wire either. I can't. I cannot support that platform. I mean, Tupac could be on it. I cannot support that platform. I can't. I stand on business when I say I love black people. I cannot support that platform. If it comes to the movies, that's different. But if I gotta pay Daily Wire to go see it, I'm not giving them my money. I'm sorry, I cannot. I cannot give them my money. You know what I mean? If it comes to the movie theaters, it comes to Paramount Plus. You know what I mean? Because that's why I think I wouldn't surprise me if it'd be on Paramount Plus. Then I'll watch it. But giving my physical money to Daily Wire to watch, I've already spent $20 because somebody wanted me to do a reaction video to what Candace Owens and Matt Walsh is saying. I can't do that. That was 5 years ago now. But I just can't. I just can't. I think that's what I've been grappling with. Will I support this? If it's through Daily Wire, no. I just can't. I cannot. I can't. If it's in any other platform that I could watch it, cool. Other than that, I am not giving them people my money. Sorry, Jonathan. I cannot give them people my money. I just can't. And it's because of the anti-blackness that they've been doing. It's not like I just don't want to support him. It's what they are known for. I cannot just give them my money. And I hate it because Jonathan, we want Jonathan to get, to get back in and in all of that too. But Paramount too. And it's funny because I've been having, I think Paramount Plus is through whatever I got. And I was watching the Scream movies. I finally seen Scream 4. You guys are right. It's fire. It is way better than Scream 7. Way better. Way better. So, yeah. So, yeah. What's going on, Lauren? Thank you so very much. Thank you for the $15 super chat. Lauren, if you're in here, let's answer this question that Erica D put in for this. Will you walk back what you said if the movie is different than what Ben Shapiro and all of them Daily Wire has been doing beforehand? Would you apologize, or would you analyze it? And you see the quote right here. Would you analyze it to support a narrative, your narrative? I want to hear what you have to say. Or if you want, I could just real quick, if you have some time, I could just get you on. If you got some time, I'll send you a link. So you could, you know what I'm saying? You could talk about it real quick if you do have the time. But while we're here, let me go ahead and get you that super chat real quick. I ain't played this in a while.
You are truly amazing. Thank you for your super chat.
All right. Thank you. And I'm about to send you this link on X right now. Give me just a second. I wasn't expecting this, but I really appreciate you. And give me just God. Oh my God, this stupid password for this. There we go. This stupid password for this for X is wild. I'm sending you the link right now on X. Yeah, I don't like this whole password now thing. You got to put in a password. That is so silly to me. Again, a part of me, a huge part of me is saying, I wish that Black Hollywood would have came for somebody with power. That's why I said Tyler Perry has a studio. I don't think Tyler Perry is going to get canceled. They're not going to use. They were like, no, we don't want to use your $1 billion studio. because we don't like the fact that you stood up for Jonathan Majors. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. All right. So we got Miss Lauren coming on. Give me a second because I'm gonna take away my I gotta take away my my thing first so we can see each other. Hold on.
1, 2.
What is going on, Miss Lauren?
How you doing? What's going on? How are you? How's it going?
I'm good. I am good. So, of course, I was going during the reaction video. Of course, I've seen portions of the video. I didn't see completely all of it. So I wanted to go and revisit this conversation. One thing that you said that kind of stuck out to me was the fact that this probably was the only thing that he could get right now.
Right.
Do you believe, because not trying to be on the conspiracy theorist train, but I can't help but put that hat on. Do you believe he's just been completely blackballed out of Hollywood, from white Hollywood and black Hollywood?
Well, we can only know what we can see, right? So we see that we don't see a major project. We see he's not back at Marvel. We see that he doesn't have another studio that's interested, or we're not hearing rumors of anything. At first we were, and now we're not. So I'm just guessing that this might be a situation where this is the only thing he can get. Of course, they don't want to in any way market that. I'm not even really comfortable trying to promote that idea because it may not be true. I don't know.
Right.
I really don't know that. Might be that this script was the greatest script in the world and this is what he wants to do, And it might also too be, we have to sort of, I think about the fact he might be conservative, which he has every right to be whoever he wants to be or believe whatever he wants. But this is a very interesting choice because Ben Shapiro is known for only really two things. And one of those things is visiting a lot of hate onto the life and death of George Floyd. Which, I mean, if you could pick somebody out there in the conservative political ecosystem that is on that all the time, it is, in fact, Ben Shapiro. And these people don't do anything with black people other than to use them as avatars for their own political nonsense, right? So we'll see. If I'm wrong, by the way, I'll be more than happy to say I'm wrong and make a video about how I was wrong and I jumped the gun and didn't know what I was talking about, because I have not talked to John Majors or any of his people, so I'm not trying to claim any sort of inside info. I could be totally wrong about this, so that's obvious. That's completely possible.
And I said the same thing. I did find, when I first seen it, I had to get clarification. I'm not gonna go into into all of that, but I got clarification, put it more like that, and that was the end of the conversation. So there was nothing after that. I don't know if anybody else has reached out to him, if he did have offers and he was just like, no, I don't want to do that. This is what I don't know. And I don't think any of us would really know unless John himself comes down and says, this is what I chose to pick. I have these offers, or maybe he won't say anything at all. I don't know.
Right. And maybe it turns out to be the greatest movie of all time. And wow, even though it's conservative, wow, this is actually really good. Like, you don't know. But what we do know in the background is that there is a concerted effort in the media from the conservative right to take over media. We just saw, effectively the takeover of Warner Brothers. When Netflix lost in that whole bid deal, not just Warner Brothers, it's going to be CNN. We're seeing the conservative takeover of TikTok. We're seeing the conservative takeover of CBS. So this fits with a pattern. I had a friend of mine that lives in Los Angeles who knows a bunch of Hollywood types that says they're searching for a movie that makes ICE look really good, some sort of ICE cop movie. I mean, can you imagine? So they understand the value of propaganda and the power of the media. You understand, as somebody who covers entertainment, the power of media. We all understand that.
And I'm glad you said that, because it got me to thinking. As soon as you said that, I'm like, I could see this going to Paramount, because nobody's going to watch this Daily Wire, because you want the black dollar. So Ben Shapiro, like you said, he's a very smart guy. He's a young, smart guy that probably knows the power of media. And with Paramount being, taking over Warner Brothers, it wouldn't surprise me
That's
if
right.
this thing goes to Paramount, or if they use, say for instance, they get the Warner Brothers deal done, and it's goes under the New Line portion of New Line Warner Brothers, so it doesn't look like it's through Daily Wire.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's the games that they could play, because this is the way that they could be able to, he's just producing the film, which I went over in this this live stream, what a producer does in Hollywood. His job is to make sure that the film gets made from start to finish. He's not part of the artistic side, don't tell him what the script says, but he's not part of the artistic side, but he is part of selling this movie. So I can easily hear him say, hey, we got this movie with Jonathan Majors. This might be our Rebel Ridge to compete with Netflix, because that's the big thing about, with David, is it Larry Ellison?
That's
saying,
right.
oh, we want to compete with Netflix
That's
as far as what we want to bring, we want to distribute. So I can easily see them saying, this is our Rebel Ridge. You get this guy out there. We're going to make him a big star again. You just wait and see. And people, like you said, on the left are going to be mad about this, which is weird. But, so I can see them doing that.
Well, at a time of anti-blackness, where we have a administration in the White House that is full frontal on racism and white supremacy, Black people should feel some kind of way. If in fact you have this major talent, Jonathan Majors is not some bimbo type male actor that's out there that's just winging it. Jonathan Majors is a major talent on another level. One good thing I will say about our conservative brothers and sisters is that they hate cancel culture. And generally speaking, they hate Me Too. I mean, not to say that it's good across the board to hate Me Too, because there are some Me Too cases, of course, are legit. But the point is that did turn out to be a cancel culture mission. And so you're seeing Bari Weiss, for example, who's basically taken over CBS, bring back people who've been accused, this and that. And, what happened to Jonathan Majors to me is not really, he was accused. That was something blown out of proportion by Alvin Bragg, who wanted to make an example of Jonathan Majors, knew that he had a big star in front of him. Oh, let's make a big example out of him, and let's pump up this issue around that. When, meanwhile, there's a video of him being chased by his girlfriend down the street in Manhattan. That let's ignore all that. But you never know what this is going to be until you see it. But I'm telling you, Ben Shapiro does not get involved with things. He does not do things for no reason. And though I understand the role of a producer and all that, this makes me extremely suspicious.
Yeah. And I was looking at it because I've been covering the whole Paramount, Netflix, Warner Brother deal. We know that it's really about CNN. They don't really care about Warner Brothers, the movies or anything. It's really about making CNN another right-wing conglomerate as far as media, and all of that. So this is just collateral damage. But with this move, do you actually, let's say for the sake of argument, which I doubt, but I don't know. Say for the sake of argument, there's no political agenda in this movie. This is the anti-woke, because that's what they always say. Oh, this is anti-woke. It's about the characters, in the story. It's a good story, but it's not about our political agenda. Let's just say for the sake of argument, this is a good movie. I'm very much believing Jonathan can make anything look good. It's just because of his talent. Say for instance, this is a really good film. Where do you see Jonathan Majors going from here?
Hopefully to a big studio. It has nothing to do with politics. I mean, so far he's picked his roles very well. It's been extremely entertaining, very unique selection of roles. And again, a talent who can do things that other people can't do on that screen. And we got some other actors that are quite good, black male actors. Obviously, Michael Jordan is quite good. But I will say, though, there's some things that John Majors can touch that other people can't. Now, when you bring that out in a sort of a black male masculinity sense, that's becoming rarer and rarer. I have nothing against the gay actors out there, but you do see this certain, I think, pushback against straight black males who are masculine. Like, that's hard to find. And John Majors is one of those guys, as is Michael B. Jordan. And so I think he can do anything he wants to do. But of course, you can't do it if you've been blackballed by the industry that you work in. You're restricted by that. Also, he's got to make money and maybe maybe come up with his own projects, control the game himself. But I'm very suspicious of this project. I have no problem saying it. When we say, oh, it's going to be a anti-woke version of, I'm like, stop right there. Basically saying it's going to be an anti-black version of something, because that woke is just code.
That's
for
what
the word
it's
black.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
these are all the games. And when I start hearing this and see Ben Shapiro, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I do think that this is going to turn out to be problematic, but of course I reserve judgment until we see the actual content.
One last question before I get you out of here. With everything that's going on politically right now, do you think Jonathan, as far as his, because there's videos, and I'm not going to ambulance chase every single video that's coming out there damning the man. I did that through the trial. I can't do that anymore, as far as I can't physically just do that, because it's draining. Do you see a silver lining in this? I mean, with the political aspect the way it is right now, do you see anything that he can recover or, make out of this right now?
Well, I'm surprised there hasn't been a movie on the falsely accused. I'm surprised there hasn't been a movie on what happened when somebody deals with a false allegation, or an allegation that destroys their reputation, that effectively pushes them into a space that doesn't accurately reflect who they are as a person. Or who they might have been in 1-2 minute moment or not, and how we, in a society with we're in this communications digital age where everything is believed the minute somebody reads it on a social media platform, and it has impacted our justice system and so many other things. I'm surprised somebody hasn't done a movie on that. There've been a few documentaries that have come close. That have done a pretty
Brian
good
Banks.
job. Yeah. Right. But really, what happened to Jonathan Majors to me is completely ridiculous. But you see that AI also is going to impact Hollywood in a huge way.
You did say that.
Huge way. And so the level at which the actors and the producers and the writers have control over these projects is going to be put into question pretty quickly. So, and the very people, even when I see things like South Carolina, okay, they're filming in South Carolina. South Carolina is a red state with a red governor. And I'm just thinking, like, okay, why are we in South Carolina as opposed to any other state we could be in, or Canada? I'm just immediately suspicious. Not California, okay, they hate Gavin Newsom on the right. So there's all sorts of things going on there that indicate a bunch of red flags. But again, I will come back and say, oh, I messed up. Ooh, wasn't what I thought it was. This is what it actually is. I can't wait till we see it. It'll probably be another year or so, but I can't wait till we see it.
And I said this, I was like, if I had to pay for it through the Daily Wire, I love Jonathan to death, but I cannot give him my dollars. So it better come to Paramount Plus, it better come to something. But I'm not giving Daily Wire my money. There's a question here from JD Foreman says, ask Lauren, should Jonathan have produced his own film, even if it only went to Tubi first, Tubi or Amazon or whatever? Should have just did that first?
That is a good question. Now, we don't know. I don't happen to know what his economic status is. I would think he'd be very well off, even with the craziness that happened. But I'm aware of the fact that somebody who's a communications person for some attorneys, I know how much they make, and criminal defense is extremely expensive, so that could have damaged, certainly that probably damaged not just his reputation, but his economics. The other thing you might want to know is that Tubi is a right-wing thing as well. All right. So
Roland, they just got bought by Fox.
Right. Roland Martin did a huge thing on Tubi on his show that you might want to look up and explain what Tubi is, and went back to the piece where we do have to own and control our own platforms. We are the culture. As Roland Martin likes to say, we are the culture. We make the culture. We are the taste makers. We are the people that put the fannies in the seats, whether it's entertainment through sports or entertainment with regard to Hollywood. It is Black people who drive so much of this. We're going to see it with Sinners on the night of the Oscars, as we saw at BAFTA and everything else. And we should be controlling a lot of this money. And this is just, we're just talking movies. Say the same thing about music. So, I mean, it is unbelievable that we are not controlling these platforms and these dollars. But to the point of the questioner, if he could afford to do that, I'm sure he would have.
Yes.
I think he would have if he could, but I don't know the answer because I don't know what his economics are. And, I haven't talked to him since the trial. So I'm just saying this is a lot of guesswork. I don't want to just be putting stuff out there and just guessing, but it look, sometimes, something is what it is. It looks like a duck, it is a duck, right? So we'll see. But we will see when we see the movie.
All right, one more question because it just popped in my mind. I listened to Ben Shapiro was talking about, we're getting Jonathan Majors. We knew that he was blackballed out of Hollywood. We're gonna bring him back. Would have liked, because I did call out Black Hollywood because I wanted to see a Tyler Perry or somebody with power in Hollywood that's black to do this. Would you rather see that than to see, which I know the answer to that, would you rather would have seen that? And if you did, who would you like for them to, who would you like that person to be?
Oh, hell yeah. The answer is hell yeah. Of course, that could be any of a number of people. Be Tyler Perry. Who's the director that's doing all these movies for Oprah Winfrey? What's her name?
Not Nina DaCosta, right?
No, black woman, black female director. She did the Selma movie. She's done a number of things.
I can't think of her name, but
I'm having a total mental block. But the point is, there's enough black directors out there that could have said to Jonathan Majors. You saw during that period when he was getting awards and stuff like that people were making moves for him. And you need them. Tyler Perry, of course, owns his own studio, so Tyler Perry can do whatever he wants. And so he would have been the perfect person for that. Again, there seems to be no place in Hollywood so often for black masculinity, for a masculine black hero.
Ava DuVernay. That's what they're saying.
Thank you, Ava DuVernay. Thank you, chat. Because that Ava DuVernay, but you got Oprah out there producing thing after thing that makes black men look terrible in some way. Her and Gayle King, that seems to be their mission in life, to make sure that we have as many negative.
You saying it? You saying it?
Okay. I mean, I'm really tired of Oprah and Gayle King for a lot of reasons. We have all this opportunity to make things happen, and it's always something negative about our community and our folks. And I'm tired of it. There's too few of us to be playing that game and doing that, not thinking about the effect it has, not just present day, but moving forward. And Jonathan Majors is a masculine black male who is straight, and for some reason there's a big problem. I mean, it's just, why can't we find roles for this person? And Will Smith in the 90s was that guy. And there was he had that sort of affable, playful thing. I think Jonathan Majors, being a bigger dude, a more muscular dude, it's like white Hollywood cannot figure out where to put this guy. But black Hollywood, to your point, black Hollywood should have figured out where to put this guy.
That's what I'm.
Yeah. So all of that you said is absolutely right. And yes, I would have rather have seen that. No doubt.
Absolutely. And that's where I looked at. I said, this, I want Jonathan to get. If I was talking to Jonathan right now, I would say, "Hey, man, do I like this? Hell no." But at the same time, you got to do what you got to do,
right?
And bills don't stop, no matter what. No matter what we say, no matter what we like and don't like, bills don't stop.
Absolutely.
So go get your money so you can pay your bills.
Absolutely.
At the same time, you have to look at the optics. And I think that's where you were trying to get at in your video. You got to look at the optics, and you might take some bumps and bruises, but again, they're going to talk about you anyway. They were talking about Jonathan when he was just having fun dancing one time. You know what I mean? So, and a lot of the jokes and stuff like that was coming from our community. You know what I mean? So we have to be careful about how we perceive and look at our brothers and sisters, because we want them to prosper, but we can't tear them down also, along with the ops that we know that's going to tear them down.
Exactly right. And why we would ever play any role in that. And I get that not all of us are perfect actors. We're not perfect. No community is perfect. Nobody, but that's not really the point.
Absolutely.
There's so few black male actors out there. And what we're seeing is actors from other countries. I mean, I don't want to go full ADOS here, but we're seeing
that's true.
It is like folks from other countries coming in. Like, what about African-American males, straight African-American males? Where's the role for that? And of course, it comes, as you know, about the business. It comes from the script writing, the storytelling, and the script. So the storytelling and the scripts is where that all starts. I get that. And that's, of course, that's part of the funnel of creativity, the storytelling and the scripts. And who's writing the stories for black males in this country? We got so many heroes in our history. Remember, George Lucas had to do Red Tails and then pay for it. He paid for the entire project because Hollywood didn't want to do it. They did not want to show black men as heroes during World War II. I mean, it's insane. It's just insane. And so it takes somebody who's a billionaire who did Star Wars to do it.
Exactly.
But right, in our community, we do have a few people who can do it. So
exactly.
Go ahead.
And to echo your sentiments, I've said this, and again, I don't know. This is just my little tinfoil hat from the corner. I believe that Jonathan wasn't playing the Hollywood game. I do believe that, because if he was playing the game, and without going into details, he wouldn't have went through half of this stuff. But I believe that because he did not play the game and he didn't want to be a part of the go along, get along gang of Hollywood, that they said, you know what? Nah, you're not worth it. No matter how talented you is, you don't want to play the game. That's what I honestly believe.
And that will get you every time. There's a documentary on Sam Cooke. I think it's called The Two Lives of Sam Cooke, something like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same exact thing. Sam Cooke didn't play the game. He wanted to own everything. There's a few black folks out there, legacy types, that own their own masters, own their own this, own their own. Sam Cooke was one. Ray Charles was another. When you start doing that, they're paying attention. They're paying attention to where that money is going. They know you have the talent. They don't have the talent. You have, particularly when it comes to music. I mean, this is a slam dunk for us. But sports and music. I mean, we can control our own sports league. Everybody knows that. We can control basketball if we wanted to control that. We can shut the whole thing down. And football. So the NFL and the NBA. We can shut that down and control all the money and do all the ownership. You see, the NFL has the plantation system of a bunch of white people being the owners and a bunch of black people having the talent. See it on the collegiate level as well. That's where you see an NIL. The money is the entire thing. It's the entire ball game. And that's why when Jonathan got hit in the money, he got hit in the money. It wasn't just the reputation. It's the money. These people know what they're doing. They're focused on that money. But he has the talent that they don't have that gets people into the theater. And that's where we got to get control of the ownership. We got to control the ownership piece.
Yes. Absolutely. You said a mouthful. And just thinking about that, Michael Jackson has a case and he's been dead for how long now? Because he got the money, he got the masters, he owned half of Sony, publishing, he owned the Beatles whole catalog, and they didn't like that. So
and the other person that comes to mind is Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby was not playing the game. He tried to buy NBC. And then, he tries to buy NBC, and then all of a sudden he's hit with some sort of, Me Too thing that's rolling from. I mean, I don't think it's coincidental, although I don't think he's necessarily completely innocent either. I mean, two things can be true at the same time.
Yes.
But I'm just saying that it's not. They're not going to hit you unless you matter. And there's nothing that drives white racist and white supremacists crazier than seeing black people have that money and secure that bag. We saw it with Black Lives Matter. And this is why it hits me hard that this is, involving Ben Shapiro, because, of course, one of the launchers of revenue for Black Lives Matter was the death of George Floyd. And it's Ben Shapiro who's always trying to tell everybody that George Floyd effectively killed himself, which is, of course, a bunch of crazy ass nonsense. But that money that came in, that $95 million that came into Black Lives Matter, that drove them nuts. That drove white supremacists crazy. So when we control the game in the bag, it drives them crazy. It's amazing.
You said a lot. Yes, you said a lot, and you're absolutely correct. When you look at it in its whole totality, you can see it's about the money and control. And they don't call it white supremacy without money, because they know that that's power. So yeah, you said a lot. I don't want to hold you too much longer. I didn't think I was going to be here over 2 hours. I appreciate you just hopping on. I know that there were some conversations in the chat that since you were in, I'm like, oh, let me get you in. Let's discuss this a little more. You know what I'm saying? And maybe you can, clarify some of the things that you were saying in the video. But I'm glad you spoke all those things that I was talking about, and just hit him. I mean, just hit him on the head. So I truly appreciate you anytime.
No problem. Yeah, keep doing what you're doing. I'll be watching, and if you need me again, just text me or whatever. And
I got you.
I don't know if you have my number, but I'll put my cell phone so we can go around X. X is
right.
Annoying. Password is annoying.
Yes. Are you on Threads? Because I think a lot. Yeah. I need to follow you on Threads. So
yeah, that's
because
cool.
I don't like being on.
Yeah, I hear you. I don't like X either. I don't trust X. It's run by white supremacists from South Africa. I mean, this is what it is. I mean, this is what it is. And he is definitely, him and his father and everybody else are white supremacists. So anyway, I'll give you my personal info in a second. But great talking to you. And if you need anything, you let me know.
I got you. Thank you so very much, Lauren.
Thank you.
All right. Again, ladies and gentlemen, Lauren Victoria Burke was in the house, and again, I wasn't expecting that, and I thank her for coming on, and that kind of tied everything. I hope a lot of people got their questions answered in this. You know what I mean? I hope so. So we could be able to have and this is the kind of dialogue that I like to have to be able to get somebody on so we can hear exactly what this person feels and what they're looking at. Again, do I like Jonathan working with these people? No, I don't. Stop telling me in the chat or in the comment section, you just bootleg, you just on your knees for Jonathan. No, I want this man to get his life back on track. And the only way that he's going to get his life back on track is him to work. Is that who I want him to work with? Hell no. And again, I reiterate my sentiment when I say that I wish that we were just as bold as Ben Shapiro was in that video for our brothers and sisters in Hollywood. That's all. That's all. Other than that, that's really how I feel. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up. Wrap that shit up, B.
All right, I gotta wrap it up because I am incredibly sleepy. I am not lying. I am incredibly sleepy, and I was not expecting to be on here about 10 o'clock. My time, 11 o'clock, almost 11 o'clock. You guys' time. But Erica D, hopefully she answered a lot of your questions or a lot of the feelings that you had. But I appreciate all you guys who stopped by and listen to everything that was said. Make sure you give a thumbs up on your way out. But tell me in the comment section below, what did you guys think about this whole entire conversation about Jonathan Majors? Put in the comment section below and let me know what you guys think. But again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell notification so you can never, ever miss one of my videos again. Until next time, I'm going to holler at you guys later. Peace and vibe, man. I got to get up out of here, man. I'm sleepy. Where's my outro at? Because you already know I got to go. Wait a minute. You're telling me the video's over? What? Okay, I guess so. If you have came to this portion of the video, thank you so very much for sticking to the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that little bell notification so you never miss one of my videos. And if you really want to, you don't got to, go ahead and follow the social media links that's down below. Until next time, I'll let you guys later. Peace and vibe higher, y'all. Y'all take care of yourself.